On this episode of RC Kicks, we're going to be building the 45th anniversary Porsche 934 Coupe. But before we kick off, I'd just like to warn you, it's going to be epic. Hi and welcome to RC Kicks. On today's show, well, we're going to be building this, the 45th anniversary Porsche 934 Coupe. Now, this is one that has kicked up so much of a storm in the RC community for all the Tamiya fans. Why? Well, it's been in massive demand, but yet deliveries have been a real issue. Sold out! No! So if you've got one of these, you are super lucky. If you are without one but you want one, I would just sit and wait. I say, that's a smashing idea. I think there's more to come. I think Tamiya have dialed up the production numbers, so you will get one. Don't pay over the odds unless you really want one now. Right, let's lay it all out and then we'll crack on and get it built. Right, we're all set, ready to go. I spread out all the trees. I have my bags all ready to go. I've got my tools and we're all sorted. Now, if any of you that wanted to know what's the difference between a Porsche Turbo 934 and the 45th anniversary, going by the manuals, not a lot. Right, let's kick off on page 4, number 2. And looks like we're into building the diff straight away. Oh, great. Top tip for you, lay out all the ball diff parts as you would build it. Also use the grease to help hold the balls in place. A takeaway dish is perfect for holding parts, and if you don't trust yourself, hold the ball diff over the tray as you transfer the balls across. That way, if you drop any, hopefully it will fall back into the tray. As this will be a shelf queen, the kit motor and pinion will be fine for this build. The metal motor mount is a nice option part that comes with the 45th anniversary kit. When fitting the motor, check the pinion isn't rubbing on the B7 rear gearbox wall. When I fitted mine, I actually had to back it off slightly as it was rubbing. If you have some free cash, why not spend it on a pointless hop-up like carbon hollow gear shafts? Yeah, I want some. Step 8, page 6. We now turn our attentions to the rear damper stays. It's a shame these are not in carbon, but Tamiya will be making a hop-up set 47479 due February 2022. At £159.99 you will need some deep pockets. You can see a large amount of play in the F2 connection with the damper stay. I'm not a fan of the MC4 step screw attachment. There must be a better option. That's the rear damper stay fitted. Let's move on to step 10, page 7. When building universal shafts, a good dollop of anti-wear grease holds everything together while you fit the pin and tighten the Allen bolt. I've just realised I've missed this bearing out of that. So I've had to go back a little bit to take it off, and the one that I missed is the little tiny one in there. Oh, in there. So make sure you put that one in, don't leave it out like me. Step 11, page 7, attaching rear arms. Next we move on to the front diff. We're going to have to revisit these arms because the actual chassis doesn't match the Porsche 934 body exactly. You have to change the wheelbase by a few mil, and part of the hack to do that is to come and adjust these rear arms. But in a future video we will do it. I've got two, I've got this one, and obviously I've got the other 934 to do as well, so I can mount the bodies properly, but I will show you how to do it later on. Right, let's crack on with the front diff. You can swap around the TA02 diffs, so you can swap out the gear diff for a ball diff if you prefer. You can also fit a front one-way diff to the TA02 short wheelbase chassis under part 53200. Thread the BC1 bolt through the damper stay before adding thread lock. It will save on the mess, as you can see. It's nice to see the kit comes with all the bearings you need for the build. Even the steering comes with bearings. They haven't just sneaked in a few bushes regardless. Fitting the MC21 U-shaped shaft can be a bit of a faff, as you kind of need three hands for this one. Now, doesn't that look pretty? So that's the front and the rear done. All I've got to do now is move on to the chassis plate, and then we basically bolt it together and it suddenly turns into a car, which is fantastic. The only real mistake I made was on the actual mounts for this front upright. I got mixed up between the actual bolts that you put through. I thought I was actually missing them, but it turns out they were staring me right in the face. But after 5 minutes of hunting around for them, I thought I didn't have them, but it turns out that I did. Anyway, let's carry on. We now move on to page 12, number 25, where we're starting to turn this into an actual car. If you're a bit of a baller, you can upgrade to low friction Tamiya aluminium dampers under part 53155, but ka-ching! I'd just like to point out, I did try to use my dampener pliers, but due to the damper being so short, only pointed pliers would work. Yes, I know how upset a lot of you get when I use my standard pliers. The kit shocks go together easy enough, just make sure you get all the air out from behind the piston. The placement of the J14 and J13 can be a bit confusing, as it's not that clear in step 25 page 12. I recommend fitting J15 first so you can line up J14 and J13 afterwards. The kit steering isn't bad at all, but you can upgrade to aluminium aftermarket options if you feel the need. Now we fit the front gearbox, the car has finally started to come together. This will be a shelf queen, but I always like to fit electronics in my cars, so this will just be whatever I've got laying around. Yes, you don't need a 25 kilo servo in a car like this, but it's all I have currently available. The TA02 short wheelbase has ample space for electronics, so you won't have any issues finding a spot free. The rims that I'm currently using are an old set, they're not from the 45th anniversary, because I'm going to be buying some from MST to replace them. And we'll call that chassis done. And in the blink of an eye, we've finished the TA02 short wheelbase, and it's fully working, it's fully alive. No major issues over my own stupidity, using the wrong screws and missing out a few bits and pieces. But hey, that's all part of building it. As long as you realise what you've done before you've finished, then it's easy enough to go back without stripping too many bits. But that's just me. I make mistakes when I build. So hey, that's just the way we are. Right, next we move on to the body. Now it's going to be white, and then I'm going to back it in silver, then I'm going to back it in black because I want it to be dark inside. I may tint the windows just a little bit, but one thing I plan on doing differently is I'm going to fit all the decals, and then I'm going to flat clear the whole car, apart from the windows obviously, because I want to dole it down. If you look at these when they're finished, being bright white, and then if you go and look at the actual test race car, it wasn't all vibrant, it was actually quite grimy looking. So I plan on flat clearing it. So whether I'll ruin it or not, hey, you'll have to stay tuned to find out. So the next thing we're going to do is cut the body out. But before we do that, if you like this content, please hit that like button, as it helps bring this content to other people. Right, let's move on to the body.
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast.